heard the term gematria thrown around quite a bit lately. A lot of people suggesting that with the use and understanding of gematria, that there are certain predictions that can be made or have explanations of certain people and scenarios and dates and that sort of thing. So what is gematria? Well, the big picture of gematria is it's really kind of a combination of real basic, simple math mixed with the alphabet that was originated by the Hebrews. And most people simply don't understand gematria. Whenever I see somebody talking about gematria, it always kind of leaves me shaking my head. So I want to take a moment and explain how it works in detail. That way, if you want to use gematria, you could. For example, it is strongly believed by myself and many others that when it comes to the number of the Antichrist 666, that would be gematria, that you take his name, you plug in the gematria calculator, and you'd get 666. Now, there are gematria calculators out there, but I don't know if I trust in them, because if you break open 3 different gematria calculators, you probably get 3 different answers. So I just want to talk about how you can do it without a calculator. Like, here's exactly how to do gematria. Now, there's 2 forms of it as well. Well, there's really 3. There's the Hebrew, and then there's the English. So we're going to start with the Hebrew, because anytime you're going to talk about Hebrew prophecy, you got to talk about the Hebrew gematria. So ultimately what this is each letter in the alphabet is assigned a value. And then that value then can be applied to, when you put all of the letters together in a word, then you add all those values together. So what are the values of the letters? Let's go through this. It's a lot more complicated in Hebrew than it is in English. So let's start with an A has the value of 1. B is 2. C is 3. D is 4. E is 5. And this continues through E, F, G, H, I, which has a value of 9. But once you get into J, it's got a value of 600, because the Hebrews don't use a J. So there's a J there. That's a high value. So once you hit that J, then the next one is K, which is given the value of 10, even though it's the 11th number. So A through K is 1 through 10, and J is 700 or 600. Now, K is 10, and from K on, it starts going by 10. So K is 10, L is 20, M is 30, N is 40, O 50, P 60, Q 70, R 80, S 90, until you get to T, which is 100, and then it changes. From there, it starts going up by 100s. So T has a value of 100, U has the value of 200, but then all of a sudden there's a jump in V and W. V and W are also very rare in the Hebrew language. So V has the 700, W has the 900, which is the highest value. And then once you get to X, then you continue to go up from 100, 200, then you go to 300, Y is 400, and Z is 500. So then what you do is you take all of those letters and they each have values. So again, so let's do my name, Mark, for example. Well, the M has a value of 30, because remember, K was 10, L was 20, M is 30. So there's my, first letter of my name has a value of 30. A is a value of 1. R is a value of 80, and K is a value of 10. So ultimately, you take 30 plus 1 plus 80 plus 10. The value of my name, according to Gematria, is 121, Hebrew Gematria. So again, I just let's just do one other letter. Let's just do something simple like cat. All right, C has a value of 3. A has a value of 1, so there's 4. And then T has a value of 100, so cat would be 104. All right, so there's the Hebrew Gematria. Now let's do the English Gematria. English is much, much easier because instead of going up by 1s and then 10s and then 100s, it just goes up by 6 every single time. So ultimately what you have is A has the value of 6. B has a value of 12. And then you just go by 6 each time. So by the time you get to J as a value, which is the 10th one, has a value of 60. Makes sense? And then by the time you get to Z, essentially it's the 26th letter, just 26 times 6. Z has the value of 156. So those are the values of the letters themselves. Then when you put them in a word or a name, you just add them all together. So let's do my name again, Mark. So M has the value of 78, A has a value of 6, R has a value of 108, and K has a value of 66. So that gives us a grand total of 258. So there's the English one. Again, it's just all the letters. They just go by 6 each one. And then you add them all together. With Hebrew Gematria, it's a little more complicated. It goes by ones until you get to K, which is 10, and J is 600. But then it goes up by ones till you get to K. Then it goes up by tens till you get to T. And then it goes up by hundreds until you get to Z, with the exception of V and W, which has a value of 700 and 900, which is not in that appropriate order. So there you go. Ultimately, what it comes down to is you just go by ones, then tens, then hundreds, but the highest is Z 500, and then the next highest is J 600. The next highest is V 700, and then the next highest is W 900. So there you go. Gematria, don't just start throwing it around, and steer away from most Gematria calculators. Definitely take the real Gematria that you could do on paper or in your head, and then compare it to a calculator. Like, I'm not saying just do it in your head every time, but make sure that the calculator aligns with reality. There you go. There's how you do simple Gematria in Hebrew and in English. Any thoughts or insight on that? Definitely put that below. I hope I didn't confuse it more. I should have maybe had a chalkboard back in my teaching days. I might have had one, but hopefully that all made sense. Again, any thoughts or insight, put it below. Would like to take a moment and say most people watch this channel, they're not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel, we take prayer requests. So never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, love guns.